ahead and hit record. There we go. Okay. So now let me go back to where I was. By the way, help me out with that. I forget that all the time, man. All right, so now you can see my Canvas screen again, I hope. Get some things out of the way. Man, there's a lot of crap on my screen. Anyway, where were we? Supplies. Okay. We actually have some embedded videos. So you'll want to take a close look at this as you work your way through the first day or two. We talk about grading. How do I calculate your grade? It's really based on a very simple formula. I take the points that you earn and I divide it by the points you could have earned if you had been quote unquote perfect. So it's a simple fraction. One of the nice things about Canvas is you can always tell what your grade is. Once we start submitting things and they get graded, you'll be able to check your grade on a daily, hourly, or even minute by minute basis, I suppose, using the grade key over there on the left. A little bit about how I actually calculate that grade. We have 3 exams at 100 points each. We do not have any makeup exams, but I do drop the lowest of those 3 exam scores. We have about 12 quizzes. It says 5 points there, but that's a typo. It's 10 points each. And again, there are no makeup quizzes. But if there is some extraordinary emergency, do reach out to me and I'll see what we can do. I will note that all exams and quizzes are given online through the Canvas web site, and I'll show you one of those in a few moments. There is additional material. Attendance may be required for credit. Sometimes I throw in discussions and the like. I'm going to use this login in part to figure out who has not shown up this semester at all. There also will be another short discussion assignment being given out in the next day or so, asking students to respond. One of the things we need to do with an online class is to ensure that students remain enrolled and active. So you'll see something in your announcements either later tonight or early tomorrow. Give that a read. Now, we do have a final exam, and it is comprehensive, and it's worth 200 points. It's given during the last week of the semester. I have the dates down below. It's about 570, give or take, total points possible for this semester. And I use a fairly standard grading scale. 90% and above is where your A's are. 80 to 89% are B's, 70 to 79 C's, and so on and so forth. Now, we also want to talk a little bit about what we call student learning outcomes. Our accrediting body wants my students to know exactly what they can do once they are done with this course in broad terms. Well, you'll be able to analyze data using the appropriate technology, and we'll be able to calculate and interpret summary statistics. That's the technology aspect there. It's a fundamental part of our course. Students will evaluate and assess a data set in context to identify the appropriate inferential procedure for constructing an estimate or making a decision about a population parameter. Now, that's pretty heavy in vocabulary. It means you're going to have to use your calculator to do some fairly complex statistical analysis. Students will analyze the sample space to determine probabilities and identify unusual events. Probability is a core component of statistics. Probability is the study of what might happen, not what actually ends up happening, but what might possibly happen. If we're going to flip a coin, what's the chance it comes up heads or tails or any other notion of chance? This is really fundamental in analyzing statistical outcomes. And students are going to apply concepts of sampling distributions in the context of what we call the central limit theorem to calculate probabilities. The math behind statistics is truly high level. It's graduate level mathematics and above. Fortunately for us, it's also very mechanizable. Your calculator loves to do statistics. It loves to do math. So the central limit theorem is really the statistical glue that enables us to trust what our calculator, our technology is going to be telling us. So that is really the most important theoretical concept that binds everything together for the semester. And as I note, these are broad outcomes, and they really sort of exist over and above the class. I really don't break these out separately during the course of the semester. They're worked into various aspects of the topics we look at. So that's usually not an issue for students directly. It's really a problem for me. Student support. We have a number of ways to get support, even during the pandemic. The Department of Supportive Programs and Services, DSP&S, coordinates academic accommodations for students with documented disabilities here at Hartnell. If you have or think you might have such a disability, we really urge you to contact the DSPS office. They will definitely get you pointed in the right direction. In fact, students that work with the DSPS office usually have a form or a document for the instructor. In addition to that, we have the Student Learning Center and the Panther Math Lab, which lives within the Student Learning Center, as well as the MESA program. The MESA program, that's math, engineering, science achievement, and it's open to eligible students. That's pretty much a sort of a first-gen, low-income sort of parameter, I believe, to be eligible for the MESA program. I will note that the Panther Learning Lab link is going to be available in your Canvas course shell. It's right over there somewhere on the left, and I'll show you mine in a moment. Oh, there it is right now. Get Tutoring at Hartnell College over there on the left. Contact information, 755-6859. Yes, I am on campus again. I'm on campus 5 days out of the week, usually in the mornings, more or less, but not entirely. I do have an office that says N26B. That is wrong. That's my old temporary office. I'll get in and I'll change that at some point today. Office hours. I still have yet to decide upon my office hours. I'm going to send around an announcement tomorrow with those office hours. It's going to be 2 mornings and 2 evenings. Two of the office hours, the morning office hours, are going to be on campus. My evening office hours are going to be via Zoom, just like this. You'll get announcements about the evening office hours, as well as a Zoom link on the day of the office hour. And then at the appropriate time, you'll just log on and I'll be here. And here I'll be. Let's see, elementary statistics. It's a 4-unit course. It is taught entirely online, sections 1051 and 1059. Students really are expected to monitor the Canvas account for assignments, courses, announcements, and grade updates. I do reach out to students in online courses, usually via discussion board assignments, so I can note who is still involved in the course. In fact, sometimes these discussion board assignments are so important that you really have to respond, otherwise you'll get dropped. It's harsh in the online world. Assessments. Let's see. No makeup exams or assessments are scheduled. But I will note that there is a fair amount of flexibility in the system during the pandemic. Plead your case and we'll see. Your lowest in-semester exam score is going to be dropped. We're going to collect homework by uploading images, and I'll show you that in a moment. I'll demonstrate that. You can do it in a variety of formats. And I collect it at the end of each chapter. You can see when it is due, and I'll show you that in a moment. Late assignments are not accepted. Now, some of these activities may require you to be an active participant, i.e. those discussion boards. And again, no makeup assignments are possible. The final exam cannot be taken early, and it must be taken to receive a passing grade. That'll work for the big schools. Online etiquette requires that we view our material in a timely fashion. And when posting on discussion boards, we're always on our best behavior, being extra specially polite. Just because it's so nasty out there, man. So I will note that this is an online class. However, students are required to respond to questions and post on discussion boards. Under the discussion tab, students will have access to various discussions at various times. Students do not need permission to post. However, most discussions have a due date. Students are expected to respond in a timely fashion to discussion prompts. Failure to do so on a regular basis may cause a student to be dropped. These meetings or discussions will be short and provide a time and a place for student-teacher interactions. I will also note that it is the student's responsibility to drop the class, and students who miss more than 2 weeks of class may be dropped. Now, that's basically for face-to-face classes, and honestly, we've been trying to figure out exactly what that means in the online world, and we're nowhere close to figuring that little guy out. But this is why we insist on fairly constant contact. We do have a final drop date. That is a typo. The final drop date is, let's see, I know what it is. It's April 22nd, and I'll go in and I'll change that also. I thought I had changed on this one. Oh, I know where it is. It's down below. I didn't change it up here. We're going to use the Canvas course management system for pretty much every aspect of the course. When you reach out to me, I do get email and I do respond to email. So I guess in addition to the Canvas world, email also works pretty well. Now, a little bit about the student experience. This is really presented in an online format. We deliver the material with the assistance of a number of different things. I know it says PowerPoints there, but it's much more than that. Students are expected to use their time to note items from presentations as necessary. Every item of import will be embedded in a presentation somewhere. And students are expected to stay current with assignments, and lecture notes are available in the Canvas course shell located under the modules link. And again, I'll show you that in just a moment. This is a transfer level math course. So our experience is, this makes this experience different than others you may have had. The pacing and rigor mirror what you would find at any four-year college. So students who fall behind early will be hard pressed to keep up. In fact, that's true of almost any math class. But this is a truly equal to any four-year college stat class of the same topic. So you got to keep that in mind. It's a real college course. Students are given much more responsibility in the educational process. Consistent attendance is expected. Timely completion of homework is required. Maturity to attend to all of these details is really a prerequisite for success. And it can be challenging. Students are expected to be self-starters. Success or the lack thereof will depend on developing the ability to find focus and discipline. And I really, truly mean this. Attention while engaging in online learning is really, truly needed to succeed here. You really got to limit your distractions to successfully complete this course. It is asynchronous, so hopefully that will help you find the quiet places in the day to give this course the focus it needs. The time commitment is substantial. A 4-unit class is really about 4 hours of material presentation, if you will, with about 2 to 3 hours of homework time required for each hour of presentation. So 4 hours a week of class time, if you will, generates about 12 hours of homework. 4 and 12, 16 hours. This class really does require a fair commitment of time, somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 hours a week. And that's not insubstantial, not by any means. But you really got to find a way to budget your time. That'll help you successfully complete this course. Now, here's where I have the correct dates. Dates of import. Last day to register for this course is the 30th, but you're all registered. That's why you're here. Last day to drop the course with a refund is the 4th of February. In fact, that's also the last day to drop the course without a W appearing on your transcript. That's the 4th of February. The last day to actually drop this course is April 22nd of this year. Quizzes and homework collections are announced well in advance. Exams are announced well in advance. And the final exam is given during the week of May 15th. And I'll explain how this works in just a moment once I get over to my modules section. Transcription. This is a transfer level course, and the transcripts will need to go somewhere. They should be available pretty much by the first week of June, I believe. We get our grades done pretty quick. We have to have them in by the week after, halfway through the week after the semester ends. All right. So let me pop out of the stop share. See how people are doing. Is there anything in the chat? No, it's still the asynchronous question. Okay, thanks. Got it. All right. Okay, so let me come back here. And I'm still in the student mode, which is just fine. It's actually where I want to be. So most of your navigation is handled over here on the far left. Tutoring takes you to the Panther Learning Lab. Online STEM Canvas page will get you hooked up with online tutoring. I believe they're also having some face-to-face tutoring this semester. We also have a link to the college library. I had some students go over there today to try to get their calculator loan program issues started, but they really weren't set up to do that just yet. They really needed people pointed in the direction of the proper form, which has now happened. Hopefully that'll work out just fine. The most useless link on this page is Confer Zoom. In fact, see, it says error, probably because I'm in a student mode when I'm really a teacher. If you'd like a Zoom meeting with me, email me, reach out to me via email, and then I can get them set up on my end. We have grades. I'm a test student as far as this, see, that's me up there, test student. And this is the first bit of material that we have. Don't take a look at it. It's too intimidating right now. I'm going to jump back up to the top and work my way back down. Your home page is just that, your home page. Hopefully there's going to be a little welcome video from this recording down here at the bottom by tomorrow. And your syllabus will take you back to where we just were. So anytime you need to know exactly what's happening or might be happening in your class, this is not a bad place to begin your search for information. Most of your work will be handled through the modules section of your course. Everything is arranged here in a pretty much linear fashion, the way we're going to go through it this semester. You currently have access to the introductory module and part 1, Introduction to Statistics. The introductory module is just designed to get you introduced to the Canvas world. And if you've done this before, it'll be a real breeze. If you click on the first link, you're given your first basic assignment. You have some tasks to do, reading the syllabus, reading the challenges of online learning. We've got a video that you can click on here. It does play. Oh, look at that, there it is. Believe it or not, it's a lot of what's already we're doing right now. So I'll let you watch that later. There's submissions. This is something that you will need to turn in, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. There is a review. We want to take course requirements, a particular requirement to use a TI-84 calculator. We have some assessments in this first module that we're working through, the introductory quiz, and then there is a discussion also. Now, a little bit about how we're going to be turning in our homework. I noted our homework is going to be coming exclusively from our text. So students should do their homework. Some of you will want to use a computer, which is fine. Most of you will use a notebook, one of the two I mentioned earlier. What you're going to do is you're going to take an image of your homework and submit that image, sometimes several images, depending on how long that homework assignment is. It's not hard to do. So when you're ready to submit your homework, you'll click New Attempt. And down here, we can upload a file. I'm given the opportunity to choose a file. I'll pick some, well, let's see, where are my pretty pictures? There they are. Oh, here's some rocks. I'll open that. I can go ahead and add another file if I want to. And I can make a comment if I feel I need to. Once I've got my uploads chosen, I can go ahead and submit the assignment. And it works with PDFs and pretty much most video, or I should say picture formats like JPEG, bitmap, PNG, and the like. You see the little confetti that came down, that means you successfully worked through that first assignment and submitted the image. Now you can move on to the next part of the assignment, which is to read the challenge of online learning. We can read that challenge of online learning, and then we can move on to, and I believe the next thing up here is the introductory quiz. Now, a couple of things about the quizzes that you see. It has a name. My quiz has a first name. It's Quiz 0. It is due January 28th, and it is available starting the 23rd. That was yesterday, and some of you honestly have already done it. And it's available through the 29th, late PM. It's due the 28th, late PM, but you actually can turn it in as late as the day after, 11:59 PM to be precise. So there's a bit of instruction. I will note that quizzes are open notes and open book. So are exams this semester. And it says I get unlimited attempts allowed. We have a time limit of 45 minutes. So I can take the quiz again. Most of the quizzes are set up the same way. I've got something I can write in response to the question. I see one question at a time. I can answer the questions and move on. I believe I can go back and change my answers. That's not always possible, depending on how they are set up. Students need permission to post. No, they don't. That's false. And you can work your way through that first quiz and go ahead then and submit the quiz. Now, it says that I don't have all the answers completed, but that's okay. I've done this one before. And I've got a couple of attempts now in the bag. It keeps the highest score, 2 out of 12, good for me. So some of the questions grade themselves, some of them I must grade. So when you do get done with a quiz, you will see a score, but because I need to grade some types of questions like what we call the essay questions where you actually have to type in your own answer in words, that requires personal grading on your instructor's part. So the grade you see there won't necessarily be your final grade. So we've gone ahead and we've done our quiz. If I take a look at the modules, I can see the last thing here is our discussion board. So there is a way for you to post, and you can see that some people have already posted. There are a couple of prompts. I would like to know your name. I would like to know if you've had any previous experience with online learning. And I would like you to pick out a couple of what you think might be your big challenges after reading that Challenges of Online Learning, which honestly is a pretty harsh document. But I also tend to think that it's rather accurate. So there's a walk through your very first assignment, or first module, if you will. And you'll note that here underneath the assignments and quizzes, discussions and the like, you see a due date. So by looking at the screen, you can see pretty clearly and quickly exactly when things are due. Another way to look at that before I get into what happens next is under your home button, over on the far right, you have a course calendar. And you'll note down here, oh, I wonder why that's scratched out. That's interesting. You have your various assignments showing up. If I take a look, for example, at February looks to be a busy month and the like. So you have that. Let's see. I got all this crap on the top of my screen here. Let's see. I want to go back to the courses. There we are, 10:59. All right. Oh, one other thing. I'm sorry. Also over here on the right, you have notifications, which can be helpful, but you also have a to-do list down here. So if you take a look at that, oh, by the way, I know why it was outlined in that first page. It just dawned on me. I don't often use the calendars because I just got done doing that with you guys. We did the assignment, we did the quiz, and we did the discussion. So that's why it's all scratched out, because I did it. Yay for me. The to-do list here is also quite useful. It lets you know exactly when things are coming up and what they are. But you also get that information under modules, and modules will actually take you right to the information or page, quiz, whatever it might be that you might need. So I want to go through the material at least a little bit here in the first chapter to give you an idea of how the material flows. So they're all set up the same way. We have an assignment followed by what's called a page in the Canvas world of lecture and technical detail that pretty much mirrors almost exactly what's in your text. And we have a chapter review of the material in chapter 1. And we have a vocabulary review, and we have a quiz. Now, a little bit about all of these. Some of them are not available yet. For example, if I click on quiz 1, chapter 1, spring 22, this quiz is locked until February 2nd. So I can't really do that until February 2nd. Other things are clickable. Your introduction to statistics. So here is your first assignment that comes out of your text. It's due February 3rd, late PM. It's worth 5 points. You submit a file upload. The file types are listed here, and it's available from January 24th, today, through February 4th, late PM. So it's due the 3rd, but you can turn it in up to a day late with no penalty. You see your tasks. You want to read the material in chapter 1. You want to review the chapter 1 lecture technical detail page. And you want to submit the homework listed below. Here is your homework, 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. There is the problem set. You are to take an image of your completed work or scan and save your work as a PDF document, and then upload that image of your good work. And you can attach multiple images in a single submission. Now, let me say something about that. This is probably the best place here to say it. Statistics is almost all word problems. Some of the problems are quite wordy. I know many students have been taught to write down the problem before solving the working out the problem. That works fine for 2x plus 3 equals 9. It doesn't work for 15 problems, each of which is a long paragraph in length. It adds way too much time. It's good to note the pertinent details that might be there. That's just fine. But you're not really required to write down the problems. If you do want to, if you do like that very much, please go ahead. Don't change on my account. I won't ask you to do that. But if you take a look at that and you say, oh my God, that's a lot of writing if I write down those problems. My God, it is a lot of writing. So keep that in mind. So once you've taken care of the homework, you're going to review the chapter 1 vocabulary review, and I'll take a look at that in a moment, and complete the chapter 1 review, which is also next up. We have an assessment. We have the chapter 1 quiz, which I just showed you. Excuse me. Excuse me. I haven't done this much lecturing in quite a while. Okay. So as I say, pretty much most of the information in your book is available on a chapter by chapter basis in the lecture note and technical detail link. We have a bit of an introduction, and then we have the material that you encounter if you would have the text, at least most of it, not all of it, but most of it. There is an embedded PowerPoint lecture that you can click on. And if you like that sort of thing, then I would urge you to download the lecture, or the PowerPoint, and run it as a slideshow. That's because several of these screens contain multiple layers, and clicking through it is really the only way to really see the full benefit there. So you should be able to download those. And if you do like that sort of thing, then that's where you want to go. But also in there, let me go back there, as I say, is all the material from chapter 1. You have a PowerPoint lecture at the end of each of the chapters, which really goes over what you see above, which is really what is also in your text. So there's a number of different places you've got the same information. I will note that one of the biggest issues students face in statistics is the vocabulary. It is a class that is more vocabulary heavy than any other math class. It's ridiculous at certain times, and I'll show you in a moment. For example, the vocabulary for the first section is right here. What is that, about half a dozen words, maybe a little bit more. More vocabulary down here. More vocabulary down here. Lots of vocabulary. Chapter 1 has very little arithmetic and is almost entirely vocabulary based. We use most of this vocabulary all semester long, which is why it is so important to engage in that material. I will say this, while the first chapter has an intimidating vocabulary list, the size of the list really does decrease as we go through the semester. So by the time we're near the end of the course, we're really down to just a handful of vocabulary words for each chapter. It becomes much more manageable, is what I'm trying to say. So there is the material. And then I can take a look at the review. It's due February 3rd, and it's available from the 24th through the 4th. So again, we've got that day late issue going. And we've got a complete vocabulary list here. It is utterly ridiculous. Now, it's a vocabulary review quiz, but it's important to note that this is a practice quiz. So I can work my way through the questions. I go do a couple of these. This is what we call any collection of information or measurements, data. And I'm on to my next question. The science of blah, 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 statistics. Next. And I can work my way through this. I have unlimited attempts. It is a practice quiz. And you'll have access to the practice vocabulary quiz all the way up through the end of the chapter 1 material. So, are there questions so far? Let me get out of the stop share. See if there's anything in the chat. I meant to sign up for the class without lab due to the schedule conflict. Would you be allowed to switch? That's an interesting question. Maybe. I don't feel comfortable giving you a hard yes or no right now. Why don't you email me right after class, and I can explore this a little bit more. So, as I say, the quiz here is a practice quiz. It's very nice. You can go ahead and take it as many times as you want. You don't have to worry about grades, if you will. This is a practice quiz, and it will not affect your grade. So you can see the due dates, February 3rd for everything in chapter 1. Chapter 2, it's February 9th. Chapter 3, I believe it's the 18th. And then we're off to our first exam. We've got a review. I'll bring it up here. Oh, but it's not actually available yet. That's right. I keep this locked. I don't want students to get too freaked out too early. And we've got our quiz also. And a little bit about the quizzes and the exams. For all of them, we have a 3-day window. Once you start, you've got to finish the quiz. You can't start and stop and start and stop, but you can take it anytime you want within that 3-day window. And again, I'm going to urge you to remember that the grade you see once you complete that exam or quiz may very well not be your actual grade. All right, so there we go. Let's see. Let me leave the student view here. Take a look here. Something was bugging me about the vocabulary review. Yeah, practice quiz. Okay, good. So there is your quick tour through the land of Canvas. All right, so I think we're just about out of time, 7:55. But there's your tour through Canvas. Are there any questions? You can put them in chat, you can raise your hand. Are there recorded lectures that are available for viewing? Well, this one's going to be available for viewing. As a matter of fact, yes, there are. Things are a little bit different now that I have to be on campus and do online classes. I have office hour videos from last semester for every single section, I believe. And I'm probably going to end up posting those, but I haven't yet figured out exactly how or when or how that might look. Basically, what they were quick on the fly lectures. They really weren't meant to take the place of the material online. But I felt that it was important to have students see me actually, do stuff. So I'm going to have a couple of online office hours this semester, and I'm planning on recording those too. But in addition to that, I think I'll try to look at those other ones and get those posted. Other questions? Would the lab be mandatory? Yes, if you are in section 1059, you are already enrolled in the lab. You actually cannot enroll into 1059 without enrolling in the lab first. 1051 is a different setup. There's no lab associated with that particular stat class. Why are they different? It's really based on high school transcripts. If your high school transcripts look good enough, you get a chance at the at the stat class without the lab. If your high school transcripts are within a certain range, we require students to take the lab class along with the stat class. This is a bit of a change over the last few years. It's been now a couple of years. It's not really new anymore, but we really did away with all our prerequisites. So there is no prerequisite, say, of algebra for this course. And it's something that you used to regularly see. So most students enter directly into a transfer level math class right out of high school. How can we tell where they should go? Well, what they want to do is one way to do it, but also with their high school transcripts. Some students who want to be engineer science bound need to take calculus. If their transcripts are good enough, they can enroll directly into calculus 3A. Other students, if their grade's good enough, they get to roll right into stats without the lab. But pretty much everyone can find a transfer level math class these days. What will we be doing in the lab? That's a very good question. I have prepared for our lab. In fact, I've got a Canvas website that goes along with that too. Honestly, I'm worried about overloading students, so I was going to wait until Friday before I let people see that one. I believe it's already published to a certain degree, but I don't think there's much in there just yet, or I haven't done much with it. What we're going to do is the following. We want to do a couple of different things in that time. It's going to be 3 hours on Friday with breaks. And we want to take that time and have some just general discussion, honestly, about learning technique, how to stay focused, how to address the notion of dealing with learning complicated topics such as statistics. It's really a lot of verbal give and take. It's quite different than a lot of other math stuff. But we also spend our time doing a fair amount of review, and I've got a number of review assignments prepared. This will get you ready for the basic math that you're going to need in your stat class this semester. And we also use it as a time to really practice our keystrokes on our calculator. The technology, again, I can't overemphasize it. Practicing those keystrokes is going to be important, and we're going to be doing a lot of that in the lab also. On average, do most students pass your class? I would say yes. The students that do not drop the class, the vast majority of them will pass with a grade of C or better, for sure. The big problem with an online class is attrition or students dropping. And that can be a real challenge. In fact, one of the reasons I'm really hopeful this semester is that the lab class will help us students in the 1059 class stay relatively engaged. Those students are usually our most new and our most inexperienced students. And I really tend to think that a lot of support really needs to be thrown in that direction. The math 1051 tends to be more older, experienced students. There's no lab there, and their success rate is also quite good too. They have less attrition, but again, very few people don't pass with a grade of C or better. It's a hard job, but in general, people can rise to the occasion. Other questions? All right, it's 8:01, and I am going to go ahead and say goodbye to everyone. And thank you for attending. Look for this being posted at some point tomorrow. And also look for the asked for response to a discussion post. That'll help me know who to drop. It's important that I do know who to drop so that in a timely fashion so they can get a refund. I don't want to feel like I'm riding anyone's ass about it, but students do need the ability to get a refund. So let's see, anything else in there? All right, lots of nice thank yous. Well, thank you all for attending. And remember, I'm never more than an email away. And we'll be together like this at least a couple of times a week if that's what you want and it fits in. I'll also be on campus if you actually want to talk, you know, face to face. So I'll go ahead. I'll say goodbye. Goodbye. Be well. And we'll see you ASAP. Bye-bye.
Bye, Professor. Thank you.